Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here this evening. Well, waited all day, but it's finally come through, and we know what's happened now. They've passed it. Let's go to the page here. Take a look. Debt ceiling. It says in this article, they're hell-bent on driving us into debt. American taxpayers get it. We cannot spend $2 trillion more than we did before COVID hit. It says an increasing number of Republicans oppose McCarthy's Biden debt deal. But it's past the first hurdle now. They voted on it, and it's been passed through. So, what does this mean? It means what I expected all along. And I mean, I said it was a crapshoot, but that's because I expected it could have been shot down by Republicans, but it wasn't. It's passed through. It's a mixed bag. The whole thing's a mixed bag. What I mean by that is, if they hadn't have done this, and they had to let America go into default by holding out to the bitter end, we could have saw catastrophic consequences for the United States economy. Worse, but this is like kicking the can down the road, basically. But it's the position that they're in now. The whole thing is a Ponzi scheme. And you cannot taper into a Ponzi scheme. You cannot taper back. You got to continue to expand the debt, or the whole thing collapses. This is the fault of the Keynesians and their Keynesian philosophy, and it's going to ultimately end in hyperinflation. So, I mean, what's this going to do? Already the effects are in place. You're probably going to see silver go up. Here's silver price today. 23.56 is up 7 cents, but what do you see? That green line on the chart. That if you know anything about charts, you know that that's moving up, moving on up. You remember the show, The Jeffersons? Moving on up. This is what silver and gold and cryptos is gonna do. Ultimately, they're gonna move on up to the penthouse apartment in the sky. You know, this is where we're going. But what does it mean for savers out there? People on fixed income? People that have annuities? You know? This is the same thing happened to Weimar Germany. It practically destroyed them, and it led to the ushering in of a dictator. Because the people look for a way out. So, ultimately, now we got the handwriting on the wall for the hyperinflation. There's no way out of this now. We've been sucked into the black hole. We're past the event horizon, and there's no way out at that point. You're going to get sucked into the black hole. The demise of the dollar is at hand. So what's the next thing? What's the next shoe that's going to fall in all this? Well, you're probably going to see... I hate to tell you guys this, but you're probably going to see the Fed capitulate down the road, not too far down the road either. This raise in interest rate business is not going to fly. Eventually, they're going to have to start to cut rates back again, and they're going to have to start doing yield curve control. That's going to be coming down the road. And you're going to see inflation start to take off after a while. At the same time, Americans are going to be losing jobs. Canadians are going to be losing jobs. Great Britain is a mess. The world is a mess right now. And we got war going on. When you mix all these things together, guys, it's a hard world we're living in right now. A hard world to survive in. And this, even though personally, my opinion is that they needed to do this. They needed to kick the can down the road further. They needed to keep this Ponzi scheme going, because what's the alternative? Is a collapse. Unless you want the collapse right now. Well, it can stave it off a little bit longer. But ultimately, this is going to end in a collapse, and the collapse is going to be hyperinflation. So it's time for you guys to really think about this and think about alternatives to the dollar. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing, the fact that they raised the debt ceiling this time? You know, this is a big question mark in my mind. In one way, it's kind of a... I have mixed feelings about it, to tell you the truth. I believe personally that when you embark on this course, the problem is, and what I'm trying to get across to you guys is you can't taper a Ponzi scheme. And why did they start this stupid Ponzi scheme in the first place? Back in 1971, when they took us off the gold standard, they embarked on this road. It was a trap. And now we have to have things done like this just to keep the system going, to keep it alive. You have to keep expanding the monetary base. You can't let it contract. It contracts into deflation. So I have mixed feelings about this. I think that this is a hard one, guys. This is a hard one. Because we're on a road that descends down a slippery slope, and ultimately where it leads in the end is going to be what the German people experienced back during the Weimar hyperinflation. But we also got the enemies at the gate. And what I mean by that is a Cold War is on that could turn into a hot war. It's already on. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. Hope to catch you guys in the morning with a market report. And actually, I'll tell you how I'm feeling about all this. I'm feeling kind of sad, to tell you the truth about this, what's happened. Because there is no good way out of the trap that we're into. It is monetary roach motel that we're into. And it's going to lead to a tremendous amount of suffering. And it kind of makes me sad. Especially for people who are going to be the most exposed to this hyperinflation that's coming. And the poverty that comes with a hyperinflation. And, I mean, yeah, silver might go to the moon, and it might be getting ready for its moonshot. Gold might go to the moon. Cryptocurrencies might go to the moon. And if you're invested in these things, yes, they might pay off in such a big way that they actually afford you a cushy lifestyle when the people around you are going to be suffering. But it's not a good thing. Just because you might make out okay, you and your family, because you've put some precious metals away, and because you've put away for yourself some cryptocurrencies, you might make out pretty good. But what you see happen around you when those cryptocurrencies are going to the moon, and when gold and silver are going to the moon, the things that you're going to see around you is going to be really tough and hard. It's sad. It's really sad. And it can all be blamed on our political structure. It can all be blamed on the politicians and the fat cats out there that are running this system. They're corrupt to the core. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you guys in the morning. Bye-bye.